this is very important to the dairies too, because any milk that doesn't get sold in a reasonable amount of time, they have to take back. I want to touch just real briefly on crop production. And a few years ago, I sold all our corn planting and corn harvesting equipment. And there was a reason for that. One, I wanted to concentrate most of my time on the dairy business, but I didn't want to update all my equipment. And I had a neighbor right next door that has big equipment. He's a crop farmer, and I can hire him in, and he can plant 100 acres of corn in one day. He comes in with a 12-row planter, and he's just very efficient. And I said to him one day, I says, Mark, I says, how efficient are you? I says, let's figure out how much fuel it takes to produce a bushel of corn. So we sat down, we did some figuring, and we went with 150 bushel of corn per acre. Some years it's more, some years it's less, but we went with that average, which is not unreasonable for our area. And we sat down and figured how much diesel fuel it would take to plant and harvest 1 bushel of corn. And for 1 bushel of corn, we're using 4 tablespoons of diesel fuel. Now, how significant is that? In 1950, when my dad bought the farm there in Seville, in Medina County, we were plowing the fields with a 2-row plow behind the tractor. After we plowed it, we would disc and till the ground 2 to 3 times. Then we'd plant with a 2-row planter, and then we would cultivate twice, and then we would harvest with a 1-row corn picker. You count the number of times we were going over that field with gas tractors that were not nearly as efficient as the tractors today, and there's just no comparison. So we've made a lot of advances in even crop production, being efficient for fuel usage and so on. The other thing that we've implemented, we test all our fields. And all these fields, we do it in 1-acre grids, and then that's plugged into a computer, and then through GPS, any fertilizer that we need, that can be applied, and we don't use much fertilizer because we have a lot of manure. By the way, just for rough figuring, we feed 1 pound of feed, we get 1 pound of milk, and we get 1 pound of manure. So it's kind of a 1-1. So we do a lot of transporting of commodities, whether it's feed, manure, or milk. But anyway, we found by going to this GPS and 1-acre grids, as that truck spreads fertilizer or lime across the field, they can vary the rate as it goes across the field based on what that field needs. Instead of saying we need 2 tons of lime per acre right across the field, we can vary that. And we've actually been able to cut down our nutrients that we apply by 50%. So, the last thing I want to touch on is that farming is very important to us. It's a great place to raise a family, a great place for the grandkids. I tell this story, the grandkids are great at taming cats. They figured out how to put a rope through a pulley and pull cats up in a 5-gallon bucket to the hay mound and then put them back down. I tell this story, my 2 grandsons that my daughter had, they were down on the farm one week. They went home on the weekend, they got home and they were all excited about being outside. And my daughter said, Fred, the youngest one, said, I want to practice my archery. So she said we set the target up in the backyard. And she said it was poor parenting, but we went in the house. It wasn't long. Carl, the other brother, came in the house and said, Fred shot one of my chickens. Well, Carl, the oldest one, had 4-H chickens. So they went out, and here was the target laying flat on the ground. And Fred kind of likes rockets, so he thought maybe if he shot up, maybe that arrow would come down and hit the target. Well, it hit a target, but it wasn't the one he was aiming at. Now, the point is, my daughter grew up on the farm. We had chickens, we had hogs, we had calves, sheep. What do you do with a dead chicken? Well, you skin them, and you have chicken soup on the weekend. She knew how to handle the situation. And if she'd not grown up on the farm, it probably would have went in the garbage. But she was able to use some of her experiences on the farm and use that to her benefit. I just want to finish up here. It had to be somebody who plowed deep, straight, and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and break, and disc, plow, plant, tie the fleece, and strain the milk. Who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when a son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does? I didn't see this ad, but my son did. We were out 6 o'clock one morning, it was 10 degrees. I said, did you see that ad? Yeah. So he brought it up on his iPhone, and in the barnyard, 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 degrees, I saw this ad, and it kind of struck me because, wow, my son wants to do what Dad does. Thank you.